I'm always really happy when I get inquiries about how I got to have the job that I have now. How did I start working in the not-for-profit sector? And I always try and respond as much as I can, but unfortunately I can't always respond to everybody. But it's really important to me to share my experience in the hope that it might help you. So we thought that perhaps if I recorded the answers to some of the key questions that you've been asking me, that would be helpful. So here it goes. So my first one is to share with you that the way that I got my first job was through volunteering or doing an internship, and I think that's really, really important. So I would really encourage you to look at organizations that are of interest to you, find out if they have an internship program or volunteering opportunity, and go for it, because it gives you the opportunity to gain really important skills, to really understand what does it mean to work in an organization. And then later on, when you apply for your first job, it will really put you at an advantage, because you will be able to demonstrate to your future employer that you've actually worked within an organization and you understand and you've already gained some practical skills. I think my second piece of advice would be to make the most of an opportunity. So I remember when I started volunteering at the European Women's Lobby in Brussels, and then they offered me a job actually after 5 months of volunteering, which was great. But when I left the European Women's Lobby, which of course was based in Brussels, and I actually, my partner was living in London, so I wanted to go back to London, and I did the move, and then I kind of looked around in the sector to understand what organizations there are that might be of interest, and eventually, of course, after a few months I really had to start applying for a job because I was running out of money, and the perfect job didn't come along immediately. And so I looked at, organizations that could interest me, that maybe didn't fulfill all my dreams, but that, there's something in the organization that interested me. And so I applied for the Peru Support Group, and I was the coordinator for the Peru Support Group, which is a small organization focused on human rights in Peru. And, that was not my dream job. That was not, where I necessarily wanted to go, but it was an incredible opportunity. And, now looking back, I think what I did there was to grab an opportunity and make the most of it. Fully aware that I didn't know much about the UK NGO sector, because I'd been living for a year and a half in Brussels, and that it actually really enabled me to gain new skills. There was a tiny organization, so I was doing everything from making coffee to hoovering to meeting a minister for human rights, so I think it's really important that you don't get too obsessed about finding the perfect job right at the beginning. See it as an opportunity to learn new skills, and it's kind of part of the journey. My next piece of advice might be perhaps a little bit unconventional, but it's about following your heart. I really think that's super, super important. So I spoke about the importance of grabbing an opportunity and making the most out of it, even if it's not your dream job. But I think when you have the choice, you have the choice between two opportunities perhaps, I would always listen to your heart to help you make that choice. I remember that when I'd been at Womankind, which was a dream. I loved that job, and I'd been there for 10 years, and I was ready to move on. And I had several opportunities. I had 2 opportunities that I'd pursued, and they both offered me the job. And it was really hard actually, because they were both amazing organizations. But in the end, I actually was in a position where I had to turn down one of the jobs. And hold out for the other one, even though they hadn't yet offered it to me, which was the Women for Women International job. But I just knew this was the organization I wanted to work for. My heart was set on it. I felt so passionate about it that if I think back now, I think, my God, how was I so brave? But I just did it, and it really, really paid off. It meant that I was able to get a job that I absolutely love, and I've been in now for 7 years, and it hasn't been a day that's not been exciting and has given me the opportunity to learn so much. So I really just can't emphasize enough how important it is that you follow your heart. This is like a really obvious piece of advice, but it's astonishing how many people that I interview or that I kind of review their applications don't do this. And that is, make it really clear why this organization, why do you want to work for that organization? You know, really show the people who are reviewing your application or who are interviewing you that you have gone under the skin of that organization, that you have literally learned the website by heart, you know, that you've really understood, and that you show them why you want to work for that organization. You know, that needs to be the beginning of your interview and of your application, and it needs to be the end. And I mean, really, really, for me, that is what will set you apart. You know, there are a lot of skilled people out there, but for me, it's the passion that really makes a difference. My next piece of advice is be resilient. You know, things are not always going to go the way you want them to. It's not going to be easy. But I really believe that if you're true to your principles and your aspirations, that you will get there. And resilience is a really good thing. I remember, you know, not getting a job and being, you know, really upset and kind of thinking, oh, you know, maybe I'm not as good as I thought I was. But of course, that's not the case, you know, because I think there's so many factors that come into finding a job and getting the job. And I really believe that if you don't get it, then it also wasn't right for you at that point. So really hold on to that. And then I think my last piece of advice is network. You know, really just ask anyone for advice. Reach out to people, you know, who you've come across. You know, in fact, that's what happens to me a lot. You know, people don't know me and they see what I do and they just get in touch with me. So do that. Reach out, ask for advice, ask for help. But more than anything, don't give up. Be true to yourself and just go for it.